Welcome back. In this demonstration I'm going to show you how to fold the Star Wars Origami R2-D2 designed by Chris Alexander, and the models of which can be found in his book Star Wars Origami by Chris Alexander. In it there's lots of great models of all sorts of Star Wars things. This model in particular is a nice little model. It actually looks quite like R2-D2, especially if you use the paper that's in the book. Alright, so to get started you're going to need a regular sheet of origami paper that's a square. So I'm going to use this A4 piece of paper and fold the top over and roll it towards the other edge to create my square, making sure these edges here are perfectly parallel. I'm going to crease right along the diagonal and remove the lower portion of my paper. Okay, once I have my paper square, I've got my already diagonal line here. I'm going to fold this right hand side over to the left hand side, valley folding it so I can get what I like to refer to as the origami X, like this. Okay, once you have this, you're going to start with the folded edge on the bottom and the point up at the top. You're going to fold the point down to the bottom and just gently mark the center. So you should have just a little crease right there. Then take the corner again and fold it down to the mark, and again just mark that edge and fold it gently. Okay. Then flip your model over and repeat those same steps, or if you want to be a little bit lazy, you can just kind of eyeball it so that it's even here. I'm just going to eyeball it so that it's even, so that both sides are looking the same. Then the directions say to take this valley fold and reverse it, mountain fold and reverse the valley so that those two points are inside. Okay, then you're going to do some more fold marking. You're going to take this edge and fold it down so that the flat edge is aligned, and then just mark that fold, so you're kind of marking the halfway, and then fold this flat edge to the mark. And I like to let this little triangle here pop back out so I don't ruin it in any way, because that's going to be the top later. Okay, mark that fold. Then here's your next mark. I'm going to take this flat edge and line it up with that mark one more time to get another halfway mark. Alright, so I've got all of those little marks, and now this one here, the last mark, I'm going to fold this flat edge and let that triangle pop out. So I'm taking this mountain fold and folding it just right there, and you'll see that I get this pleat fold right here. You can see how this piece comes underneath here. Alright, then I'm going to flip my paper over and repeat the same process. Fold it in half, mark it, fold it in half again, mark it, fold it in half again, mark it, and that last mark line that's right here, I'm going to let that triangle pop out and fold this mountain fold right down to that mark. And if you do this properly, your points should line up and those edges should line up like that, so that pleat fold is looking the same on both sides. Okay, then you're going to take this corner here and fold it down so that it lines up with this line here. It's going to give you the top of R2-D2. And if you have the paper from the book, it's going to be this flat line right here that lines up with the curve of his head, I guess you would call it. Then do the same thing on the other side. Flip your model over and fold it down, or if you want to make it just the same at the top, try to make as much the same as you can. I found that when I was actually folding the paper within the book, it was just a little off, so I just kind of had to fudge it there. So once you have those zigzag folds there, you can take this paper and this mountain fold, reverse it into a valley fold so that those pieces are now hidden inside, and that's going to form this headpiece. Okay, now that you've got that done, take this right hand corner here and fold it to the left so you have a vertical line that lines right up with the edge of R2-D2's head here. And crease that valley fold. Now do the same thing on the other side. I'm just going to unfold that piece and fold the right hand corner in so it lines right up with the edge of R2-D2's head. Fold it with my bone folder. Okay, now I'm going to take this corner and fold it up so that the bottom edge meets up with that vertical line that we had right here. And if you do that correctly, this little point will come just past the edge. Do that on the opposite side, folding this corner upwards so the bottom edge lines up vertically with that previous fold. Now take these two pieces, this side here, and unfold it. Open up the two pieces of paper and then squash fold this point up to the top, right along the center. So it should look something like this when you're done. Okay, do the same method on the other side here. Open up this point, open up the two flaps, and squash fold it so that this corner here lines right up with the center, and will look something like that when you're done. Okay, then in the directions, he has this side up first. Take this outside edge and fold it in along the center of that squash fold. So it looks like that. And do the same thing on the other side of the squash fold, like this. Then repeat those steps on the opposite side here. So we have a symmetrical model. Okay, now that you've finished that, take these two inner flaps here and just fold them outward so that your model looks like this. Now we're going to take this bottom corner here, which if you look at the original model is this edge right here. We're going to take that, and in the directions it says to take half from this distance to that distance and halfway from this distance to that distance, and fold your line there. Okay, so I'm just going to take this little corner and fold it upwards. If you're using the paper from the book, you can just follow. There's a little line that's hidden right underneath there, and you can just follow that line. But since I'm using this white paper here, I'm just going to be dividing it. Okay, there's my two little folds, and now you're going to unfold these two triangles and sync fold them. So I'm just going to open this one up from the top, and just show you that triangle there, and then I'll just push that in, reversing the outside creases of the triangle so that they're mountain folds, and the inside creases so they're valley folds. Okay, So your sink fold should look something like that when you're done. Okay, so there's the one side, and the other side here, opening it up. Reversing the outside creases to mountain folds, and the inside creases to valley folds. So those two sink folds at the bottom will look something like that when you're done. Oops, lost my head here. Here we go. Alright, now that those sink folds are completed, you're going to open this leg situation up again, and open these two folds one more time, and take this whole flap and petal fold it downwards. So we're going to be making a valley fold from this corner to this corner here. And as you do that, if I line those up and valley fold this crease here, these edges should come into the center. And if you reverse the crease that's here on the outside from the valley to a mountain, this triangle should come down and look something like that. Alright, do the same procedure on the other side. Open the flap, open the two sides, petal fold this tip downwards, valley fold that crease on the inside, bring the two edges in, reverse this crease to a mountain fold, reverse this crease to a mountain fold, and it should look something like this. Okay, now that that's completed, you're going to take this point here and valley fold it up so that it's lying on the line that is the bottom of R2-D2's belly, I guess you would call it. Okay, do the same with the other side, valley folding this point so that it's parallel with the bottom of his belly, like that. Okay, now these two triangles need to get folded inside, so I need to sink fold them. So I'm going to unfold this bottom piece, open this flap up, fold it inside, and flap these two edges back around. So your finished sink fold will look something like that. Do that on both sides. And it should look something like that when you're finished. Okay, then take this flap here and you're just going to unfold it along the triangle that already exists. So it looks like that. You're going to fold this one same way so that you're kind of laying this flap of paper out. You just inside reverse folded there, or rather sink folded. Do the same on the opposite side. Like that. Alright, once you finish that, take this corner here and you're actually going to mountain fold it down to this point. So I'm going to start by, since it's kind of difficult to mountain fold inward, I'm going to valley fold it first, like that, and then I'm going to reverse that crease from a valley into a mountain and tuck it inside, like that. And do the same thing on the opposite side. Take this corner, valley fold it downward, like that. Reverse that crease inside, like that. Okay, now that that's finished, you're going to just fold this line right here, but what you're really doing is you're just going to flatten this piece out. So if I fold it right along this crease, if you look here at it, you can kind of see how it's just folded right along this edge here to flatten it out. And that's just going to allow R2-D2 to stand up. So again, I'm going to fold it right from this point to that point. So that when you're done, your model looks something like this. You've got those two feet sticking out. And our last step here is to sync fold these arm pieces in. So I'm going to take this corner and fold it into the center of this line right here. Valley fold that. And repeat that step on the other side of the leg. This corner folding inward this direction. So it looks like that. Then do the same folding on this other leg, folding this corner into the center. And folding this corner into the center. Once you've folded those two in, your model should look something like this. And then you're going to take these corners and sink them inside. I'm just going to unfold this a bit here, which kind of ends up unfolding this leg, but it's kind of necessary. And just take this triangular area, reverse the outside of the creases into mountain folds, the inside creases into valley folds, and this last crease back around for a mountain fold. And when you're done, it should look something like that. Okay, do the same thing on each one of these remaining folds. Take this one, open it up, reverse it, take the outside of the creases, reverse them into mountains, and the inside to valleys. And when it's done, both sides should look like that with the sink fold inside. Do the next leg, unfolding it, reversing the outside of the creases to mountain folds, the inside of the creases to valley folds, like this. And then the other one, same situation. Open it up, reverse the outside creases to mountain folds, and the inside creases to valley folds. Alright, now you've got your model laid out flat. Looking something like this. And the last step is to swing R2-D2's legs around. So if you pick your model up and just rotate this piece of paper so that you can fold it, mountain fold it right along this edge here, and take this piece of paper, fold it around, and kind of mountain fold it right along the body this direction. It will have those two legs, and if you actually can stand it up like that, so that when you're standing it up like this, the body will look like that when it's laying down. And that is how you fold the Star Wars Origami R2-D2 designed by Chris Alexander.